It said, hello everyone. Would you like to know about the relationship between God and the brain? Today, Dr. Pillai and guests will be sharing academic and scientific revelations about the neurology of God, otherwise called as neurotheology. Today, we'll be inviting you to take a closer look into understanding God from within your own brain. We'll also be sharing practical tips for how you can maintain a healthy brain. Dr. Pillai will be sharing insights from his PhD dissertation at the University of Pittsburgh. Using the mythology of key archetypes from within the Hindu tradition, Dr. Pillai will share how the 4 heads of Brahma, the 5 heads of Shiva, and the 6 heads of Muruga represent different parts of the brain. Dr. Pillai will also be sharing secrets for how the yogis activated different parts of the brain using phonemes or mantras. And most importantly, Dr. Pillai will be sharing a practical and simple technique that you can use to experience the superintelligence of sound. Today we're joined by 3 special guests. Dr. Andrew Newberg is a leading neuroscientist and a pioneer in neurotheology and the co-author of the book, How God Changes Your Brain. Dr. Neil Barnard is a clinical researcher, health advocate, and author of the book, Power Foods for the Brain. Dr. Gautam is a clinical researcher and director of the East-West Integrative Medicine Research Hospital and Institute in Chennai, India. So first, we'll begin with Dr. Pillai. Dr. Pillai, thank you so much for taking time to join us today. And can you please begin with an overview of your perspective on the neurology of God?
The neurology of God. The term came to me, I don't know if anybody had used it before. Neurotheology is a term which I think I have read about it, and then probably it was from Aldous Huxley. Neurobiology of God is a very beautiful term. I like it. I don't know who may be the author of it. There are 2 ways of understanding this. One in a very simple way that everybody can understand. So everybody in the spiritual community or interested in metaphysics have heard about the crown chakra. The crown chakra is indeed the brain. The crown chakra is in the astral body. And then spiritual enlightenment takes place once the energy moves into the crown chakra. So the crown chakra is about the neurobiology, neurology of God. This is a very simple interpretation that everybody can relate to, but the neurology of God goes even further. For instance, as when you look at the mythology of Buddhism and also Hinduism, there are multiple heads of gods. There are gods with 4 heads, 5 heads, 6 heads. And all these heads represent different parts of the brain with different functionalities. What is amazing is they were able to know what part of the brain is involved in doing what activities. The 5 parts of the brain representing the 5 heads of Shiva. We have the same in Buddhism also, Buddha being represented with multiple heads, and the gods in the Tibetan traditions with multiple heads. For instance, there is the topmost brain, the juncture of the parietal lobe and the frontal lobe is called the Ishana. That's one head. And then that is the supreme intelligence is available there, and they are able to also activate it through specific meditation techniques. Then there is another part of the brain representing the eastern head or the eastern face of Shiva, which is the frontal lobe area, which is called Tatpurusha, which is self-actualization, understanding who you are and your identity in space and time. All these things are this. And then the right brain is called Agora Hridaya, the face. The southern space, and then there is the left brain, which is called Vamadeva brain, which is associated with the speech, as we know in modern, through modern brain science, that the Wernicke and area, the Broca and Wernicke area are there. And they are all further represented by gods like the god of speech or goddess of speech are in the left brain. And then there is this the cerebellum, the visual cortex area, the occipital cortex is also another god called Satyojata. And then that is associated with vision. And how did people know that the visual cortex, it is what I'm talking about is literature that is at least 10,000 years old. And now to go furthermore, the pineal gland, called as the third eye. And then it looks exactly like the third eye with the cornea and the retina being present within the pineal gland, which is only a very, very tiny 5 millimeter in diameter organ. So when I say the neurology of God, it is just not a metaphor. I know that Dr. Newberg uses more when he says God changes the brain. And it is more like God is a metaphor there used, and then how belief in God, faith can change. But my research shows that, particularly with the Indian tradition, the Hindu and the Buddhist tradition, shows that it is God is really the neurology. Okay, I can go on and on, but this is not an academic session. I'm not just an academic. Primarily, I am more into meditation and the experiential part of meditation, not just academic research, but I'm also interested in that because I have done my doctoral dissertation on that. So it's not only a neurology of God, it is also physics of God, because with quantum physics talking about the emptiness is everything, which also can be substantiated by equating God with emptiness or nirvana, as in the Buddhist tradition, because nirvana, which is emptiness, is also fullness, which is like the vacuum state. So that we can also talk in terms of the physics of God. So we can also talk about in terms of the chemistry of God, and all these things are very interesting and intriguing, and also make young people, who are skeptical about God, growing up in a rationalistic, logical tradition, to understand that it is not all superstition, but also it's rooted in science. And then so the bottom line is both science and religion can be benefited by this. I am a great fan of Einstein. Einstein once said that religion without science is blind. Exactly correct. And science without religion is lame. And he wanted to merge both religion and science so that we can have a better understanding of that. That's part of my life's mission, is to bring them together so that we can have a holistic understanding that will benefit all of us. So that is, briefly, an introduction to what I've been trying to do so far and what I intend to do in the future also. So when I come back again, and I will talk more about experiential dimensions of my work.
Thank you, Dr. Pillai, and we look forward to your further teachings on the show.